Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, dear. Yeah. See, this is something that I have put together over the years of over a decade now, that almost 10 years that I have been doing a handwriting examination. And in the end, I will be asking you all to, if you want, you can take my contact information from Mr. Nitin, that's Forensic.India. They'll give you one. And I am actually, what I'm doing is I am working on a project wherein a research project wherein I'm trying to use artificial intelligence and machine learning, that is all computer software terminologies, to be embedded in handwriting examination. Part and parcel, it is part and parcel of my PhD research work also. And along with that, it's a personal project that has become quite dear to me over past couple of months. I have already filed in one patent for using artificial intelligence in investigation of road accident cases. And now this is the second patent that I am working on. I have started working on is using artificial intelligence and machine language for handwriting analysis. These are some of the topics that they are new, they are fascinating. But before moving on to the new topics, let us go back to the beginning. See, majority of you are already from the forensic background, and they know what handwriting is all about. And let me just summarize in a couple of lines that handwriting is basically your neuromuscular coordination, meaning your nerves, your brain, and your muscles, your limb muscles, whether it's hand or your feet, they coordinate with your brain along to form words and deliver them onto the paper or onto a writing surface using your muscles. And that is why it becomes very difficult for a forensic expert, or basically, I should say that for a handwriting expert to give 100% confirmatory opinion. Reason being that we normally, when we are talking about handwriting examination, we talk about when we are talking about giving opinions, and I guess I can turn on my video on screen at the same time if anybody has an idea of that, because I am not familiar with the platform. Okay, I don't know. Okay, can you see me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just let me know if I am not visible or something. Okay, so I just wanted to turn on the camera because it becomes very weird when you are just listening to a voice to a blank screen. So coming back to what I was saying, when it comes to handwriting expert opinion giving, we are actually asked again and again the same question, that how reliable is your opinion? How you are so sure that this writing or this opinion, the authorship that you are giving is 100%. Reason being, the neuromuscular coordination cannot be 100% same at every point of time. And because of that, we come across this problem. So, yes, some of us who are there in the field, we are working on it. We are trying to get rid of this, you can say, a barricade that has been always hindering our our forefathers, our founders of handwriting examination. But I am going to be going back to what they used to say about the general and individual handwriting characteristics. This is a PDF that I'll be sharing with the organizers, and they can share it with the participants later on whenever they find it easy. This is something that I have put together. I've already said this over the years. I have used my own language in here, and yeah. Let me come down to handwriting characteristics. Basically, handwriting characteristics are divided into two parts: class characteristics and individual characteristics. When you will refer different books, different authors, you will come across that people, the different authors, different experts have listed different characteristics every time when they come across, and you cannot limit the number of class characteristics. Like in fingerprints, we can say that we have 5 major pattern types. But in handwriting characteristics, I cannot limit it to say that, okay, there are 15 general characteristics, class characteristics, there are 20 class characteristics and 35 individual characteristics. No. Because coming back to the definition, neuromuscular coordination. Neuromuscular coordination, your lifetime of your learning of the language, your lineage, your ethnicity, everything, your age, your mood, your physical condition, your mental condition, your emotional condition will affect your handwriting. And that makes it very difficult for us to say, set a fixed number of characteristics to be limited there. So I've just jotted down some of them here, which are generally considered very important for giving the opinion or forming an opinion. The first one being pictorial effect. Pictorial effect, you can say that we look at a writing and we opine about it. We form an opinion about it, whether that particular handwriting is basically, it is a beautiful handwriting, or it is clumsy in nature, or it is very artistic, like sometimes you have been listening to your parents, your teachers prompting you that, oh, this writing is so beautiful, why don't you write it like that? Or you can say that the writing becomes forceful when somebody is forcing you to write, maybe by holding their hand or maybe holding a gun to your head. Or hesitating, wherein you can find that the person has been using excessive pressure, and again there is obliteration in the words. Or you can find that the writing is labored. Labored meaning, coming back, I'm sorry, I'm using a Hindi word over here. Labored meaning बहुत मेहनत करके लिखा गया है, meaning कि you have actually tried really hard to write something, and when you are doing so, your handwriting becomes big, large, and it's very slow. And these are the general labor handwriting is normally found in when you see the handwriting of a individual who is semi-literate. I'm not using the word illiterate, because illiterate means the person doesn't know how to read and write. So semi-literate meaning the person knows a few words, knows the name to write, they know how to write their names, they understand a few figures, some of the numerical words, but they are not able to write very fluently. So semi-literate people, generally you will have an experience of looking at their writing as labored writing. Then comes out to be the nervous writing. Now somebody will point out that what is, why, how, or when will you be able to distinguish between whether the writing is forceful, whether it is hesitating, or whether it is labored. Okay, the basic difference that comes down to all these three is the I'll go to the linguistic part of the examination. We'll go down the lane. When you're going down that lane, it will point out towards the area wherein the words that you are using, wherein we are observing pen stops, where we are observing the excessive pen pressure, where we are observing that the person has the person is thinking before writing. Therein we can distinguish where we are talking about forceful, labored, or nervous. You link it to your verbal communication. Like when you are communicating with somebody and you are nervous, so your body language changes. You start jittering. You start pinning your moving your fingers like this, or playing with your hairs or something. And when you are hesitant in doing something, you stammer. You don't speak very fluently. You try to get you restrict yourself while saying certain words. And forceful is something when say you are not a very good liar. You cannot lie on a phone, but your elder brother or your sister, they ask you that, okay, tell my friend or tell the person who's calling me that I'm not available right now. So that forceful feeling that you will have at that point of time, that same thing you will be able to observe in the handwriting also. And yes, I'm going to say that here again, that this comes with experience. You cannot expect yourself to be able to judge a particular handwriting after just analyzing 3 or 4 samples. It has to come with experience. So since I guess is you 8, 9, 10 of you who are here in this workshop, I think you're paying for it and you are desperately interested in learning something. So my suggestion to you is that you start analyzing each and every handwriting you get, irrespective whether it is of your course of your experiment or not. No, just you saw in handwriting, start working on it, start identifying the characteristics. That way it will get into your habit and definitely it will bring out good in you. Next characteristic that we normally observe is rhythm. Rhythm is something you will link with the music. Like in music, when you're listening to a nice song and you are able to listen to the rhythm of it, okay, you think that the song is in sync. You think that, oh, it's a very beautiful song. I am able to link myself to it. I'm able to understand what the sound is all about. That is what we call as rhythm. Similarly, we have rhythm in handwriting. In handwriting, what we link to rhythm is that when all the handwriting characteristics, all the general handwriting characteristics are in sync with each other, when they go hand in hand, when you form them uniform all over the entire sample on which you are testing on, or on which you are judging it on. Next comes your style. I'm sorry. It is on the next page, the explanation. Style is something that you develop and adopt with your upbringing, like with your lifespan, with your life. For example, all of us have started learning to write English on a 4-line notebook. All of us have went through the same copying those same cursive handwriting words, and then we all developed a particular style. We developed a particular form. We developed a particular letter formation. We some of us say some of us love writing with the cursive letters, or those calligraphic capital letters. Some of us like writing entirely in the block letters. Some like entirely writing in cursive letters, irrespective whether it's the first word or the last word. So you have developed this style, and you are working on it continuously. Movement. Well, this is actually a very big topic, a movement, and I'm so sorry. I'm going to say this once in the beginning only. I have to travel, and that is why I'm running in a hurry in the characteristics. And I will be definitely touching movement tomorrow. I'm not going to be touching it today because it's going to take the entire duration of our time. For entire 1 hour, it will take entire 1 hour for us. So I'm not touching this particular topic today. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next characteristics, and we'll come back to movement tomorrow. Pen position. See, pen position, when normally we talk about, there is a very big misunderstanding between pen position and pen presentation. People consider that pen position and pen holding, they normally take it as a synonym to each other, but this is entirely different. When we are talking about pen holding, we are actually talking about the way you hold your pen. Whether you are holding your pen with your 5 fingers, with your 3 fingers, with 2 fingers, wherein you are supporting it with whether you're giving the support to pen using your thumb or using your 3rd finger, that makes it pen holding. But when we come to pen position, we are actually talking about how and at which angle your pen is basically touching the writing surface. What is this angle that is being formed between the pen and the writing surface? This is actually what we talk about as pen position. So pen position is something that is basically the tip of your writing instrument touching the reference writing surface. Generally, we say that people normally write at 60 degrees at the angle. Now the question arises that how are we going to judge it? Okay, there is no way to check somebody is in writing and then in a 3D position and determine what the angle is. So what happens is that this pen position is very easy to determine when the person is using fountain pen or a nib pen. because when you write using a fountain pen or a nib pen, you leave a pen track, and we can easily determine from there the pen angle. But in case of ball pens and gel pens, it becomes very difficult for us to determine the pen determine pen position because of the missing pen track. So what we do is we use the angle. We use a method wherein we drop in a tangent from the top of the topmost point of the alphabet onto the baseline, and then we determine that particular angle. Yes, I will be showing you that demonstration tomorrow while we will be doing handwriting the next part of the workshop. Then comes your line quality. Line quality is something that you can call that it is sometimes considered as mixed, or it has been pointed out, or it has been confused with rhythm. Okay, but rhythm is different. In rhythm, we are actually talking about all the writing characteristics going together in sync. When we are talking about line quality, we are talking about uniformity. We are not talking about the syncing of the characteristics. We are talking about the uniformity of the characteristics, whether the handwriting characteristics are showing uniformity in everywhere, whether the slant is same or not, whether the alignment is same or not, whether the start and finishing strokes are same or not everywhere, whether the handwriting is smooth or not. Okay, so this is called as checking the line quality. It has whether say if there is a lot of pen stops are there, you are observing pen pauses, you are observing tremors, then that would mean that line quality is disrupted. It is not smooth enough. Okay, and that is the sign of your forgery. Okay, then comes the skill. Okay, now similar to the professional skill that we have, the more you practice, the more skill you become. Same is the case with handwriting. The more you write, the more skilled your handwriting becomes. The lesser you write, the lesser skill your handwriting is. So you all must have observed the handwriting of a doctor. Okay, they write like they see say 50 patients in one go, and they write 50 prescriptions, and at least one page of each prescription they write in, and you see how fast they write. Okay, that is, and their writing, we call it as, that is normally people say that it's a very dirty handwriting, but in terms of handwriting characteristic, it is the most skilled handwriting, and we call it as skilled handwriting. We call it as simplified handwriting, because the person knows how the pen has to move with particular words, wherein the pen movement has to, where the pen has to reach the top, or where the pen has to be, crossing the bottom line. Okay, the person knows the appropriate area, the appropriate proportion of letters, and that's how we call it as a skilled handwriting. The speed is enormous. The person writes very fast. So that is called as superior skill, and it comes with the habit of writing. If an individual, say a person who is very highly educated, but the person doesn't write, a person who works in IT, the person who works on software developments, they are good at typing, they are very fast at typing, they'll type in 60, 70, 100 characters in a minute. But if you will ask them to write, they may have fumbled handwriting, they may tremble while writing. You will find that their handwriting is labored. Reason being that they are not habitual of writing very fast, or they have stopped writing long back. So their writing development had stopped wherein they might be in their school or college level. Therein their handwriting stopped developing. So that is, we call it as skill. The more you write, the more your skill develops. Okay. Then comes in tremor. Now some people may argue that tremor is not a characteristic, but I here say that the tremor is a characteristic, because tremor is basically divided into 9 types, 10 types of tremor. There is tremor because of your age, there is tremor because you are semi-literate, there is tremor because you are drunk, there are tremors because you are intoxicated, there are tremors because you have some physical illness. Okay, there are tremors because you have a rough supporting surface, there is tremor because you might be moving. Okay, so there are a lot of factors wherein tremor comes into play, and because of that, these type of tremors we will find it over in a natural handwriting over the entire writing. So we cannot eliminate tremors as saying them that they are the sign of forgeries. But yes, there are certain particular point where we find that tremors are found in forgeries also. Okay, tremors are also found when you are forced to write, when you are hesitant to write, when you are very angry, your handwriting will show tremors. But that doesn't mean that tremor will not come naturally. Tremors do come naturally in a handwriting also. And that is why I have put it here in the general handwriting characteristics. Pen pressure, I have been saying this word a lot again and again, so I'm going to be repeating this once more. Pen pressure is basically when an individual writes by putting in forcing the writing instrument on the paper. Okay, and this causes heavy indentations. Now there has been a big debate and that you can check pen pressure using the indentations. Okay, but I am a person who strongly disagrees with this statement. Reason being, if you are using a very pointed pen and the writing surface on which you are writing, that paper thickness is very thin. So even if you are not writing with heavy pen pressure, you will have heavy indentations. And say if you are using a round tip pen and you are writing on a bond paper, a thick paper, and you put in all the pressure you want to, but because of the thickness of the paper, the indentations are going to be light. So your indentations entirely depend on what surface you are writing on and what writing instrument you are using. So claiming that indentations can be used to check whether the pressure is heavy or light, I am sorry, but I disagree with the statement. So some of you may disagree with me right now, but I have pointed out the argument from my side also. If you can correct me, please go ahead. My question here is that now the question arises that if you cannot judge indentations, if you cannot judge pen pressure using indentation, then how we can judge pen pressure? Okay, the answer to that question is we cannot. With modern pens that you are using, the ballpoint pens, the gel pens, you cannot judge pen pressure. You can only judge pen pressure when you are using split nib pens. Not even fountain pens, you have to use split nib pens. Okay, so the point of discussing this pen pressure here, some of you will ask me that if you are saying that this is an obsolete characteristic, then why are you discussing? The point I wanted to emphasize here is that this characteristic is wrong. It should not be used in modern context, and that is why I have put it here. Same as I am agreeing with the next characteristic that I say, it's called shading. Shading is also observed when you are using split nib pen, and that too in the downward strokes. So basically shading is when you are giving a 3D effect to your handwriting. The calligraphic writing, if you will see, you can see the increase and the decrease in these strokes. But that thing you cannot see in your ball pens and your gel pens. You cannot write a calligraphic writing using your ball pen and gel pen. Okay. If you are not overstroking it. Okay. If you are overstroking it, then definitely you can find shading, but that will not be shading, it will be overstroking. So when we come down to the point of shading, again, I would like to pinpoint here that this shading is not to be confused with the points of retouching and overwriting. Retouching is different, shading is different, overwriting is again different. Okay. Pen pauses. Pen pause is a characteristic wherein it actually moves in both the characteristics. It goes with the normal handwriting characteristics also, and it is a sign of forgery also. There are some people who have a habit of a pen pause and pen left I'm going to be using together. There are some people who will have a habit of writing certain alphabets and then stopping in the middle and then again starting from there. that will give rise to a pen pause there. So pen pause in that case, if it is found at all the places, if it is found uniformly distributed in the handwriting, it becomes the sign of a genuine handwriting characteristics. But if we find this pen pause at abrupt places, not at proper places, not repeated over and over again and again, then that becomes a sign of forgery. Same applies for pen left also. When I write, I'll show you my handwriting tomorrow. When I write, I generally club my alphabets in the pair of 2s and 3s. Okay, so there is a gap between my particular alphabets. If I'm clubbing two of them together, then you will see a gap, and then you will see 3 characters again. So this type of pen lift that I am doing, it is found all over my handwriting. So it becomes my handwriting characteristic. But if say you find these pen lifts at just 1 or 2 places in the handwriting, okay, then it becomes a sign of forgery. Okay. Let me just switch the screen for a minute now. Okay. I just want to ask you all one thing. Are you able to understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? Because I am not able to see you, and that's why I hate online. But that's the only way we can actually communicate right now. If it would have been the offline mode, I can promise you it would have been actually a very interesting session, interactive one. But I'm so sorry because of the current times. Okay, so let us go back. Then we have spacing. Okay, spacing is something that comes with not only the alphabets, but with the lines, with words, with paragraphs, with your arrangement on the margins also. Some of the books and some of the authors, you will find that they are just actually considering the margins that you are leaving, right hand, left hand margins. But I would say that that's a limited amount of spacing you are talking about. Okay, and you will find majority of people leaving the spaces nowadays because of the ruled binding that we are having. We are not in the habit of writing on loose pages nowadays, so that is normal. But if we are not talking about the space between the words, the space between the alphabets, the space between the lines, which is more important, because when we are talking about the built up documents, I don't know if you have come across this word, Abhita. When you're talking about built up documents, BUILT, built up documents, we use the forger use these blank spaces that you have left here and there to change the meaning of the sentences that you have already written. Okay, so this type of spaces are very important for spacing is actually very important for a handwriting expert. Reason being, this spacing will help you to determine whether there is an addition and alteration, or some addition and alteration has been made in your handwriting sample or not, just to distract you. So this is important. Spacing is very important for you to check whether a sample is genuine given to you or not. So spacing is one of the most important characteristics, and it need not have, it should not be ignored. Not even in 1% cases. It has to be considered every single time you are doing the analysis part. Then comes your alignment. Alignment is basically the horizontal displacement. I see in my 10 years of my experience and almost 7 years now teaching, I have always come across this. Majority of students, they get confused in these two handwriting characteristics, alignment and slope. Okay, alignment is actually the horizontal displacement and slope is the vertical displacement. Meaning, when you are writing on a baseline, you are talking about the base of an alphabet, whether the person is writing on that baseline horizontally, or above that baseline, or below that baseline, or in an inclined plane. Okay, that is basically alignment, the horizontal displacement. The slope is basically the vertical displacement, whether your handwriting is towards the right, it's towards the left, or it is straight. That is called as the slope. This vertical alignment, a vertical displacement is basically the slope, and the horizontal displacement when you're talking about is basically called as the alignment. Okay. Then comes your relative size of characters. The relative size of characters when we are talking about is that whether an individual is writing the characters like the normally one should write, the space that an individual is giving. For example, the alphabets in English writing has been divided into on the line characters, above the line characters, and below the line characters. On the line characters are, I'm talking about the cursive words here. On the line characters are your E, R, S, O, W. These are all your on the line characters. Then comes your above the line characters. They are basically your H, your K, T. They are above the line characters. Then comes your below the line characters like Z, Y, P, Q. They are your below the line characters. On the line characters means that go back to just imagine those 4 lines on which you used to write English language. On the line characters means those alphabets which will come on in the between those 2 middle lines. Okay, that's on the line characters. Those characters which came on the top 3 lines, they are called as above the line characters. And the characters which used to come on the lower 3 lines, they are called as below the line characters. So these characters are basically, they have got they have a basic size that has been assigned to them. So now whether the person is writing enlarged characters, whether the person is writing appropriate size of the characters, or whether the person is writing say on the line characters and above the line characters are of same height, or say that on the line characters are excessively small and below the line characters are excessively increased. So that would tell us about the characteristics. Okay. Then comes your individual characteristics. Individual characteristics may, I would like to pinpoint that the first individual characteristic that one should understand is heading. Okay, now heading is something not just that you have like I have given the heading as individual characteristics, then I've made a bullet point headings and I made them bold. Okay, so when you are writing it, so how you highlight a particular or how you highlight particular words, important words and phrases in that particular handwriting, whether you overwrite them, like you make them bold by by overwriting the strokes, or whether you underline them, and in that underlining also whether it's a single stroke, whether it is a double stroke, whether it is a wavy stroke. So how you are underlining, that actually defines your personal way, your personal habit, and in a way, if I talk in terms of graphology, your emotional condition also. Okay, then comes your pet words and phrases. Say, like in vocabulary, some people have a habit of saying a particular word again and again and again when they are talking about. For example, some of the people will go on using the word like every 3 or 4 phrases, and they will say like. Or some of the people you will find that they will excessively they will use the word hence, or some of the people will excessively use the word therefore. Okay, so how you are trying to which words similar like you are the one you are using in your vocabulary, same pet words and phrases you use in your handwriting also. In terms of software, if I talk about, we call it as author attribution. Okay, we actually we pinpoint those. There are certain words that we pinpoint, like I pinpointed like, for example, the, that, this. Okay, these are the phrases, these are the words which are very frequently used by a particular individual, and when we come across these words used again and again, their frequency, their presence, specifically their misuse, the grammatical misuse is actually very important. because this grammatical misuse will tell you, it will pinpoint you towards that particular pet word. Say if your person is using the word hence, okay, and it's the word has been used grammatically correct, then you will not observe it as something which was out of the place. But if the word is being used at a place where it is grammatically wrong, where it is not supposed to be there, it is out of the place, then you will be able to notice it, and then it will become your, then it will become important for your evidentiary value, for your opinion, for your investigation point of view. So pet words and phrases are basically important because they help us, like I've used the word psycholinguistic analysis. They help us to linguistically determine the psychology of that individual. Okay, it helps us in identifying the difference between a sociopath and a and a psychopath. So it is very important. It helps you in determining the ethnicity of a particular individual, because if the grammar is wrong, then the person is definitely not using that as it's his or her first language. It's something that is his or her second language. So that is why wherein the pet words and phrases come into being. Next comes your paragraphing. Paragraphing is basically sometimes you will observe people who will write in one go. They'll start in the on the top of the page, and then that paragraph will, then that writing will continue till the end of the page without any gap, without any space, without any paragraph formation. But then there are some people where you will find they'll group their 2 or 3 lines in one paragraph, and then the next 2 or 3 lines in another paragraph, irrespective of the fact that whether it's a paragraph or not. But they'll group their lines, okay? But again, there is a difference in the paragraphing also. Whether the person is making, is leaving some space and then making paragraphing, like you can observe that there is irregular spacing in this particular document, okay? Or whether the paragraphing is from end to end margin, okay, like justified writing, what you call, or whether the paragraphing is that you leave some space at the beginning of the sentence, and then your last sentence of the paragraph ends towards your right margin, or you leave some, you start with the left margin, you touch the left margin, and then you, when you are ending the paragraph, you leave some right margin. So how you are basically making your paragraphs, how you are arranging your paragraph, and that makes us understand your psychology, that makes us understand your habit, okay? And it is very important again when we are talking about the built up documents, because say for example you are observing that a person is leaving the right space while ending the paragraph, but somewhere on that document you find that in one of the paragraph the individual has written to the end of that right margin in one of the paragraphs. So that points towards that is a suspicious point, that if an individual is writing 10-20 pages with leaving right margin as end of the paragraph, but in one paragraph all of a sudden the person is not leaving any margin, then what is the problem there? So that is where paragraphing becomes important to us. Punctuation marks, their presence, their absence is extremely important. Then if they are present, their position, their frequency, their choice, their formation is again important for all of us. Figures, how a person is writing the numerical from 0 to 9, it differs in everybody. Some people write with in loop formation, some people write with blunt start, blunt ending, okay? Abbreviations is something that there are certain standard abbreviations and there are certain abbreviations that you make, okay? For example, when I am writing something that has to end with ION, so instead of writing ION, I use double apostrophes. So that is something that I have made for my handwriting, for my abbreviations. When I have to write he and she or his or her together, I write S/HE. So it becomes he and she and he. If I have to write his and her, so I write HIS/ER. So his, her. So these are my abbreviations that I have made. So when you are observing in handwriting, you have to you have supposed to identify though these abbreviations, because they are highly individualistic, and the way the person makes them is his or her individual characteristics. Start and end strokes, how you are starting, whether you are starting from top, from the middle, from bottom, whether your start is hooked, whether it's a curved start, whether it is a thick start, whether it's a blunt start, okay, how you are ending it, whether it's a flourishing stroke, whether it's a thick stroke, whether it is a thinning stroke, okay, that is again an individual characteristic. Hesitations are basically the sign of forgery. We observe them in the ending strokes, the starting strokes, pen stops, pen lift, and all this has to be there in abnormal places where it is not found normally. Abnormal places, it has to be there. The signs of tremors are there, so that is all come under hesitation. Retouching, there is a natural retouching wherein a person when a person is writing an alphabet, and he again, there is some malfunctioning with the writing instrument, and you cover it up, okay, and then there is a retouching which comes under your forgery. So that retouching is you forgot to write. That is basically that retouching you can easily observe under a stereo microscope, and it's another very big different topic. It's called as sequence of strokes. So you can even use that here. Embellishments, like some people, they have a habit of decorating their alphabets. Instead of I, they will make a small heart, or they will they will extend the lower stroke of Y, and they'll make a lovely wave, okay, or while they are crossing their T's, they will make that T bar, the T cross, not a straight line but a very wavy line. So how you are particularly how you are designing your particular words, okay, that comes down to your embellishment, and they actually point out towards the skill of the of the writer. The more the skilled the writer will be, the more embellishments we will be able to find in the handwriting. I'm sorry of the repeating of abbreviations. Okay, then comes your placings. Okay, how you place your dots, how you place your full stops, how you place your I dots, how you place your cross strokes, that is your T bar, and your punctuation marks, whether they are on the line, whether they are in the middle of the stroke, whether they are above the line, whether they are above the alphabet, or whether they are not even present. Okay, that is the placing we are talking about. Connecting strokes is basically of two types. One is called as intraconnecting stroke, and one is called as interconnecting stroke. Intraconnecting stroke is the connecting stroke that you are making to make a particular word. Say I have to write apple, so the stroke that I am using to connect my words APPLE, that is an intraconnecting stroke. And interconnecting strokes is basically, you will find that some people, they connect their words. When they are making a line, they connect their words. Say, for example, this word, the signature in freehand. So the signature in, they will connect these the signatures and in all together. That is called as interconnecting strokes. Okay. So now how these strokes are being made, whether they are pointed, whether they are curved, whether they are present, whether they are absent, so that becomes your connecting strokes. Okay, and this language, I'll move down to the picture over here. Where is it? Yes. See, by this language, I mean that your particular word formation, okay, which I normally call it as deviation from copybook form. You are supposed to write a particular alphabet in a particular way, but with time, because with the development of your handwriting, with the development of your skill, you tend to change that standard word formation. So how you do that? These are the certain examples. like an arc formation. Arc formation, if you can see, it means making a hump. This hump is called as an arc. Beard formation, this type of hook at the start of an alphabet, it's called beard formation. Body is basically the main body of the alphabet. Buckle, like the belt buckle you have. Okay. Similarly, some people, they make a buckle in their alphabets. While they are writing the bridging strokes, they make a buckle like A and K. You will find this. Okay. Bulb formation. Okay. This bulb, this circle that has been formed at the top. Okay. This is called as the bulb formation. Okay. Foot, like some of the alphabets, they have to stand tall. So for standing you need feet. So what is the foot of that alphabet, how that foot is being made? Okay, like you can see in H, sorry, in H, in K, in M, you can see that these are basically the foot that has been pointed out with an arrow. Okay, so that you can easily identify. This is called as the foot. Hook. Hook is basically this U-shaped something that you are able to see, this U-shaped stroke that you are able to see. This is called as a hook. This loop, okay, this lower big body of circle that you are able to see, it's called as a loop. I is basically there are certain people who write the particular alphabet with a closed body, and they make a full stop in the middle. So that is called as an I. Okay. Shoulder. This hump is called as a shoulder. Okay. Like you have a shoulder, alphabets do have a shoulder. So how this shoulder is? Does the shoulder contains a loop? Does the shoulder has a V shape? Does the shoulder is blunt? So it's called as shoulder. Spur. Spur, people get confused with spur and hook. Okay, let me just say here, hook is basically when you are moving from downwards to upwards. It's like this. Okay, and spur is basically a vertical, this vertical line, the vertical slash that has been made. Okay, staff, like you have a pole of your flag. Similarly, some of the bold, some of the capital alphabets, I'm so sorry for using the word bold, some of the capital alphabets, they have to stand on a vertical support system. So this straight line of B is called as a staff. This straight lines of H, they are called as a staff. This line between the two staffs in a H is basically called as a bridging stroke. Okay. So even my laptop battery is about to be finished, and I have to travel also. So I'm just going to stop here. And if you have any question, you can ask me. But I am. Yeah. Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Okay, thank you, Manorama. Okay, I'm going to be ending here today, and I would like Mr. Nathan to please take over. And reason being that I have to travel right now, and I'll be continuing with the session. I've just given you a brief about the handwriting characteristics, and tomorrow we'll be moving on to the fact that how you are supposed to make a report and what are the important points that you should highlight, and the major thing that we will be focusing on, that how to make that report impressive. Okay, there you will find hundreds and thousands of experts giving their reports, but how to make that report impressive is what I'll be sharing with you tomorrow. So with this, I'll be taking off. So thank you so much for asking me and giving me the opportunity, and I'll be joining you back tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I'll be joining you tomorrow. And I will hope that I'm not in so much of rush tomorrow. Okay, so fingers crossed. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.